Hello there and welcome to the Drax Files Radio Hour with Joe Yardley. My name is Draxter Dupre, and yes, we are still on summer break between Season 1 and Season 2. Joe is hiding from the sun at the newly mesh-made Hotel Adlon in Second Life. You can commiserate with her if you have a similar disdain for summer heat waves. Since our podcast is still a fairly new operation, we're experimenting not only with the format, as you may have noticed, but also with the very nature of what a season is. And Joe and I came to the conclusion that our summer break will be until September 1st, upon which we will resume our live-to-tape sessions, complete with commentary and analysis of breaking metaverse news. So for another 4 weeks, we will continue with nonetheless fascinating, at least I hope so, interviews with important folks from the virtual reality sector. And today we have Tunje Chakmak and Holger Hager from Cyberith, makers of the Virtualizer. You can see videos on our blog. It's that circular disc, which is an omnidirectional treadmill, which you run on with your socks. It features a belt that holds you. You can lean forward without falling over, kind of like these baby play rings. It has 3 pillars attached to the disc, surrounding it and enabling the ring to slide up and down, following your movement. It's pretty darn cool. Cyberith is one of the big 3, the only 3, to my knowledge, omnidirectional treadmill makers, together with Infinideck and the Virtuix Omni. These guys are determined to make the holodeck a reality for every one of us, even VR enthusiasts who are confined to a small room in their mom's basement. Sorry, I just couldn't resist that remark. Cliches. Oh, they're so comforting. Anyhow, before we roll the tape today, please consider supporting the show by taking out a voluntary subscription. We have awesome little devices that accept your money in world. Vintage microphone and an on-air sign that lights up when you feed it. Please also frequent the merchants that advertise with us. Subscribe on Stitcher, subscribe on iTunes or FeedBurner. But now to our featured interview. Here's founder of Cyberith, Tunje Chakmak, with a little company history.
I've met Holger at the University of Technology in Vienna. We started together a technical physics study. And then 2012, I came up with the idea of the virtualizer. I made some experiments and told Holger every day at the university, I'm doing this and that. And one day Holger, I asked him if he wants to join the development. And he said, yes, it's a great idea, so why not? And that was the beginning of the Cyberith.
At the time, did you look at the Omni Virtuix and thought, we can do this better? Or were you aware that they are also building an omnidirectional treadmill?
When I first heard of the virtualizer, of Tunje's idea of the virtualizer, I've never heard of of the Omni or something like that before. It was the time, even when the idea came up, it was the time even before the Oculus Rift went on Kickstarter. And so it was somewhere a lot time later, in 2013, when we have heard of the Omni first. So our project and our idea is here for a longer time than we know from each other.
If you've seen the picture on our Kickstarter page of our prototypes, you will notice that we began in July with 0 prototype. We just thought, there are already other HMDs which can illusion the brain for the virtual environment, and thought, but there's no solution to walk around in such environments. And that's how everything started.
I was wondering, did you guys feel that there's something in the air that somebody will maybe make goggles that go along with your device that are going to be in the consumer range price-wise? Everything is happening sort of at the same time.
We knew about devices like the head-mounted displays of Sony,
Carl Zeiss, for example.
Yeah, we knew that there are other devices which other companies, they are working on head-mounted displays. And this was fascinating that these head-mounted displays were coming even more into a consumer level. But we didn't think so much about them. We just wanted to do our locomotion device.
So you didn't think, you said, no, we're not going to work on goggles. we want to run and jump.
I think what is important to mention is that we have not been at university and thinking about what can we do or something like that. It was the technical idea behind it. It was not out of a business idea or something like that. It was just technology. How can you make this? And we did not think about the market and all that stuff. We thought about the technology. How could we realize that? How does the mechanic have to work? How does the sensorical systems have to work? And we came from that direction. And so our focus was not on what is available, what is the market and things like that. Our focus was more on the technological aspect of it.
And to mention this, our focus was because of Quake-free Arena.
So you guys are gamers. So this is very interesting because my son, who my podcast listeners know because he occasionally appears and he reads the credits, is an awesome gamer. And you guys serve to me as a parent, also as a role model, that you guys may have been totally obsessed with games, but you actually then went on to lead successful academic lives.
Well, it's a little bit different between me and Holger. I can tell you that I have played a lot of games in my life. And I spent very much hours playing these games, and that's a little bit the difference between me and Holger. He's more into the scientific aspects of the virtualizer, and I am more in the gaming aspects. And this is great because we are together. We are the perfect team. You know what I mean? Yeah, and for me, that was the beginning of the virtualizer. I just wanted to play my favorite games inside.
That's what people want to hear. If you have children that play 10 hours every day, they can still become a productive member of society.
Of course they can.
The reason why I asked earlier, for us who are enthusiastic about Second Life, we always dreamed of people making things also to be in our world. So for us, the term virtual reality and virtual world was always very sort of present. But it seems now you guys are starting, the Oculus is here, and all these other devices, Prio VR, the STEM system, everything is happening at the same time. And I asked this question to everybody, and it seems easy to answer, but I want to hear from you. Why do you think this is happening right now and not 5 or whatever years ago?
This is happening right now because of the easy access to different power sources of the computer technology. Now, if you're working on goggles from virtual reality, from Oculus Rift, you need to calculate all this data. You need to get low latency. And this is because the computer technology is now on the right level to do this.
Furthermore, I think the display technology is a very important point too, because back in the 90s, when there was the first time virtual reality was larger, or the first hype about virtual reality, then a lot of aspects of technology had been not the same like they are today. I mean, today there are a lot of displays which are much better and lighter than they have been in the 90s. The computer power, like Tunja said, is much better. And also I think there are more sensor systems available, and different sensor systems available now, which make it easier to produce consumer-ready virtual reality products.
I want to know about what the virtualizer, what distinguishes the virtualizer from these other from your other competitors. But first of all, you're in Austria, which is pretty awesome because everybody is here in Silicon Valley. What's the advantage of being in Austria, and what's the disadvantage, or does it matter where you are in the world today with Kickstarter and everything is interconnected?
I would say an advantage for us was that we already know a lot of partners from the industry, companies who helped us creating the first prototypes. So if we were traveling to Silicon Valley, it would be a very hard task to meet all these companies and get the network together. But there's also the disadvantage that here in Austria, it's very hard to find other virtual reality companies where we can exchange some information and learn from each other. And yeah, I would say this is the disadvantage here. But we have a very peaceful location, and we can work on our ideas. I think everybody can work on the ideas everywhere on the planet.
Yeah. And nowadays, I think it is very important that people can connect over internet, like we're doing at the moment, and this is what we're doing a lot. So it is, of course, it is very important to have a lot of contacts in America, in all around Europe.
One could even imagine a virtual world. I know a little virtual world called Second Life. It's simulated on 45,000 servers, and you can pretty much do whatever you want in it. That's I'm just suggesting. It's not Doom. It's not Quake. You're not going to get killed the minute you log in. Now, explain to me what I've seen on the virtualizer videos, which is amazing, is that you can actually jump, you can crouch down, you can do all sorts of things that I have not seen on these devices. Give me the pitch. Why is the virtualizer better than other competitors that may be in that same field?
Well, for us, immersion is very important in virtual reality. The user and the brain of the user shall be illusioned that way, so that he thinks the virtual environment is reality. And for this, it is very important to have maximum freedom of movements. So we don't want it to stop somewhere. We want it to have as much movements possible in the device as we can get. And that's the reason why the virtualizer is constructed that way. You can jump, crouch, and it is very important. If you imagine you're walking inside a virtual environment and picking up some objects from the floor, you're picking up a stone. And we've also added haptic feedback on the base, which enhances the immersion again, because the signals of the environment for the brain are more. Just an example, you're walking inside the city and a heavy truck is driving by and you feel it. It is very important to have as much signals from the game, from the virtual environment as possible directly to the brain. For example, just imagine you're in a battlefield and a grenade explodes. You can feel the vibration and the floor vibrates for different actions in the virtual environment.
That is pretty cool. Do you have sensors alongside that belt that you're wearing?
We have a different kind of sensors in the ring construction, in the pillars, and in the base. So with this data, you can make the 3 times decoupling of movement, of sight direction, and aiming direction, for example. Or you can make analog crouching and jumping, so you can have it with a precision of under 1 centimeter that you can crouch down and jump up. And yes, and with the base plate sensors in combination, you can do all these movements like strafing, walking, running, analog-wise, and get all the data together. And you can also use this data to make analytics, how many kilometers you have run or how many calories you have burned.
You guys do this with socks, so there's no shoes. What is the advantage of socks?
We're using textiles because it is easier for the users, and furthermore, there is the feature that you can walk around something like noiseless. You don't hear your feet stepping around all the time. Imagine you're running through your living room in the nights or days or all day long. And when you do it with socks or something, or with shoes, you can hear it much, much louder than when you wear textiles. That's an important difference, an important feature.
You just posted a blog post where you have equipment from PrioVR. So what's the relationship you have with these other hardware makers? Is this complementary? I mean, do I need this to have the full arm tracking, or will you also be offering a line of products that competes with some of the stuff that the other guys are doing?
Right now, we think that the virtualizer and the PrioVR are two technologies that work together very, very well. And this technology together enables the best possible immersion we can think of at the moment. And so for us it is logical to work together with Prior VR and with the virtualizer to combine it and to get virtual reality forwards, to create the future. And we're not interested in competing with them or things like that. We just want to make we want to revolutionize virtual reality together with other companies. That's very important for us.
The virtualizer is not able to track arms and hands. The virtualizer is designed for the movement of the user. So the combination with Prior VR is just awesome. I mean, walking around in the virtual environment can look down and you see your arms and you can grab objects and all this stuff. This is crazy.
One thing that I've heard expressed is that all this stuff that is coming up now is transitional technology, in the sense that the future of virtual reality, if you envision a holodeck, well, some people say it's basically going to be just cameras that are tracking you, and all the wearable stuff that we have now is going to be obsolete pretty quickly. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've seen some projects where people are trying to use camera systems, like, for example, the Kinect, to realize integration of the real body inside the virtual environment. And I think it is quite interesting. But for now, it needs more development.
Furthermore, I think it is not easy. It is difficult to get rid of variable technologies and a lot of technologies, because, for example, think about the idea of the virtualizer is to enable walking around in virtual environment, but not walking around in real environment. And so just with only cameras, this would be very difficult. Also, think about haptic feedback. And I think haptic feedback will become more and more important in the upcoming years. And so I think you cannot do this with only with cameras. So I think you will need additional devices too for a longer time from now.
Yes. A locomotion device is necessary, or you run against your own walls.
Maybe it's going to be integrated in the house of the future. The whole floor is... or you license your technology, and then builders can build in an entire virtualizer, let's say, in the floor plan of every room. Imagine that. I give you a business idea. I want a percentage. Okay, great. A couple more questions. The retail price, have you decided on that?
We can't tell you more about the price in the market now. It will be higher than the prices we offer at Kickstarter.
So it will be, at least in the beginning, a device for the enthusiast. I mean, for the gamer, or also maybe in a fitness center, perhaps.
At the beginning, our goal is that a lot of developers get their hands on the virtualizer, because the developers can code virtual reality games, especially with the SDK we are going to offer, so get the full potential. And this is going to be crazy in future. And we see the virtualizer in future really at people's homes. And we see the virtualizer also at fitness centers.
Maybe in museums also.
Yeah, there are a lot of different applications.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to ask who's going to create the content, but you're releasing this and game designers will have it. Again, I can only tell you that there is a gigantic world with games in it, tons of people. And that world is called Second Life, and I believe that little company in San Francisco is building Second Life 2.0 right now.
I've read about that. I'm very interested to combine this.
To me, what is really fascinating is the applications for all sorts of healthcare and mental health care applications, working with patients, for example, with post-traumatic stress disorder. Are you guys working with research institutions that study virtual reality and such things?
We are talking to people about this, not only in Austria, but we are very interested in meeting a lot of people, scientific people from all around the world. And of course, we're working together with Vienna University of Technology, but also with other universities, for example, in Germany. And we have contacted interest also to an US university. and already did some work regarding architecture, real estate stuff. And psychology is a topic we want to come into much more.
We have tried a software called Anxiety Management VR, AMVR, from a company, Cytec, from Argentina. And this this software is specialized for people to analyze and help them with claustrophobia and the fear of heights and this stuff. And we've tried this and combined it with the virtualizer, and it was very interesting to see some people who are really afraid from heights inside this system.
It's a very interesting software for anxiety management. It's awesome, and I think it is a very interesting field for using all-day immersive hardware.
Thank you, guys. Highly fascinating. I have full disclosure. I chipped in a little money in the Kickstarter, so I'm a little biased because the stuff looks really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Do you have any final thoughts that you want people to know that I didn't touch on?
Yeah, I can tell the people who are listening to this, I am training a lot in the virtualizer, so in future I want to be in first place in every tournament, so I'll be prepared.
That is actually fascinating, and people know I have to lose a few pounds. My wife says 10, I say 8, but it doesn't matter. And I mean, when I see you like jumping up and down, that is really something that is so against the stereotype of the gamer who just sits there. And this could really revolutionize the gamer's relationship to physical exercise.
Of course, yes. Of course, you're moving around with your very own body, and this, in thinking about this, it is of course a lot different from classical sitting and gaming, because you're much more immersed. You're walking around. You're using your whole body for the game, which is a difference to the classical gaming.
All right, that was Holger Hager and Tunje Chakmak from Cyberith. Their Kickstarter still has 29 days more to go. We'll link to it on the blog. So that does it for the show today. I need to mention, of course, that I have resumed producing the monthly mini documentaries, Drax Files World Makers, and episode 21 is just out today. A really, really amazing story of creativity and love in Second Life. A story of romance that does not involve anybody cheating on anybody or divorce or some such mainstream obsession with digital relationships. It's heartwarming, it's inspiring to say the least. Check it out and share this with your skeptical friends. That's it, folks. For news blogs, you know where to go. Shout out to Daniel Voyager and Inara Pay and all the others that we're linking to. Inara is keeping me on my toes about following through with all these promised interviews that I occasionally make on the show. Yes, Inara, Professor Jackie Mori on her life in VR is coming very soon. Just needs to be edited. I need to find the time. There are also additional segments in the new series Lunch with a Lifer. And by the way, why don't you guys help me out and drop some names? Who do you want to see in that Lunch with a Lifer series? If they're close to me or if they're close in Second Life, I'll take them out to lunch and we'll tape the conversation. That's it. We'll go out today with a few outtakes from the interview with Editorial Clarity, the subject of Drax Files World Makers episode 21. Have a good one. Bye.
My name is Second Life, is Editorial Clarity. Before I discovered Second Life, I always wondered if there would be ever like a world where people get jobs and people earn money to live in the game and things like that. It was actually not long after I had that thought. I first heard about SL on a TV show in the UK called Richard and Judy, and it just sounded really cool, the idea of it, like this whole world, and it would be whatever you wanted it to be. And so I just started exploring the grid and seeing what it was all about. I've actually found something today. It's a little thing that I wrote when I first joined Second Life. I wrote about people who had their own TV networks, and I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And I saw people had magazines, and I was like, oh, I'd love to do that as well at some point. That'd be really cool. And so I wrote down all the things that I would love to do, and then I did everything. I mean, because at that point in my real life, it wasn't the best time for me. I was just finishing high school and I didn't do that great in high school. So this was just like a really cool place to do my own thing without being worried of what people think about me and being judged by people. In 2010, I met my partner Rico, who lives in the United States now. He's originally born in the Philippines. At the time, he was a model in Second Life, one of the most popular male models. Fashion was so big at that time in Second Life. It was a huge scene and there was shows every weekend. He was winning all these prizes and I was like, who is this person? It was like slightly annoying because I was seeing him all the time, like, oh, this is really annoying. And I went to an event and he won the event. He was at the event. One of my friends invited me there and I saw him there. And that was the first time I'd seen his avatar and he won that one. And I rolled my eyes and he's won another one. Yeah, he just caught my attention, shall we say. I hadn't actually come out the closet yet to my family. That was a time when I was still, really private about it. I had issues with confidence and issues with who I was and, worrying so much about what people thought of me. And in SL, I can be who I am and I can do all these things. And, if people enjoy it, that boosts my confidence. And if people pay me compliments, boosts it even more. Second Life has been a really important part of my life. All these ideas of things that I wanted to do, radio, host a TV show, run a magazine, do interior design, and I've done all of them. It helped me discover what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, or what I would like to pursue and what I wouldn't like to. Also learn more about myself, and I've been able to showcase my work to other people all around the world. I don't understand why people wouldn't like that. I can understand people not understanding what Second Life is, but I don't know why they would be against this world where so many amazing creations and people from all over the world learn, create, do whatever you want to do. I mean, I don't see any negatives to that, really.
The Drax Files Radio Hour with Joe Yardley is a weekly production of Basic Drax Entertainment. The show is supported by Leap Motion, SL Go By On Live, Stitcher, Bot Girls Identity Circus, Carvel Design, Vika Creations, Humanoid Animations, Escapades, Botanical, Death Row Designs, Nantra, Angel Red Couture, Fallen Gods Incorporated, What's Next, Avacon, and Landscapes Unlimited. Contact the show via Skype, DraxFiles, Avatar DraxFiles, or email radio@draxfiles.com.